Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be doing the cutting and sewing of female long sleeve with a cuff. So stay with me as I continue. This line here is my starting point. So I'll place my tape from my starting point like this, and I will measure from my starting point to my elbow line 12 inches. Then the full length of the sleeve. The full length of my sleeve is 26.5 inches. So take your own measurement. So 26.5 inches. Because of the curve, so I'm going to minus 3 inches from it. You can use 2.5. So if I minus 3 inches from 26.5, I'll be left with 23.5 inches. This is 23.5 inches. So I'm going to add another 1 inch again for seam allowance to join the down and the upper part. So I'm going to rule all my lines like this. My elbow line, my full length, and my seam allowance of 1 inch. I will come to the upper part like this. The sleeve cap height, I'll use 4 inches. So from this point, so I'm going to add my round sleeve divided by 2, 17 inches. Then I will add my 1 inch seam allowance. So this is my round sleeve now. Now from this point, I'm going to connect to the upper part like this. I see now. See what I have now. Connect to the upper part. Then I will use my tape to find the midpoint. What I have here is 11 inches divided by 2. So this will be my midpoint. Now from this midpoint, I'm going to add half inch to this part now. Half inch this way, up to the midpoint, half inch. Then I will connect it to my upper part like so. Are you seeing now? Then the round sleeve area, I'm going to reduce it by half inch. So I'm going in like this by half inch. I will blend all of this together. So this is my cap height, the sleeve shape. I can now add my elbow round sleeve, 15 inches divided by 2. I will add 1 inch seam allowance. My wrist round sleeve, 8.5. So this is how to take the wrist round sleeve. I see now. Because of the pattern of the sleeve, it has a cuff. So you don't need to make it bogus. Normally you're supposed to look like this to pull your sleeve out, but in this case, don't make it bogus. Just check. I can use 8 inches here. I see the gap. I can use 8.5, and if I check that 8.5 now, it will not pass here. But because there will be button, you don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to just mark now. 8.5 divided by 2. So I'll be using 4 1/4 like this. Then I will add 1 inch, my seam allowance. Then I will add 2 inches to it, because I'm going to pleat this part. You can pleat it 2, you can pleat it 1. If you want to pleat 1, don't add it up to 2 inches. You can add 1 inch. I'm going to connect it like this now. And connect it to the seam allowance. And now connect it to the upper part like so. So this is the shape of my sleeve. I will cut it out like this. So if you want to add a sleeve shape, just mark the center like this. The same way that we curve the armhole, and take away half inch before the seam allowance. Don't get to the seam allowance. So I'm going to mark like this, half inch, and I will stop before the center of the sleeve. So I will stop before the center of the sleeve. So the shape is going to be like this, and I will stop before the round sleeve also. So I will take this out now. Okay, so this will be the front, this will be the back. Don't forget that. So at this point, I just changed my mind. I don't want this allowance to be up to 2 inches. The pleat, I'm going to pleat just 1. I don't want to pleat 2. So I will take away 1 inch from it. So if I'm taking away 1 inch, I'm going to slant this round sleeve like this. Okay. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. So if you want yours to be 2 pleats, you can leave that 2 inches. Like this is okay for me. So I just transfer my pattern now to my sleeve. You see that they are equal. So I'll open it like this. You see front, piecing front. I'm going to notch the center of my sleeve first. And I'll open it again. So the sleeve shape at the front, I'm going to place it now to take it out from this fabric like this. Now that the front is kissing the front, okay, I'll take it out like this. Now this is the front, remember. I will come to this back line now. The slit, I'm going to mark it at this back side. So I will hold the 2 sleeves like this, and I will mark my center of the sleeve like so. Now the side seam allowance is 1 inch. I will mark that 1 inch like this. So I will measure from this side seam to the center that I marked here. Whatever I have here, I'm going to divide it by 2. So I'll divide it by 2 like this. Then I will measure 4 inches the length. The slit will be 4 inches. So I'm going to open it like this. So see what I have now. Remember that this is the back side that I this button slit. This is the front. I didn't touch this side. So I will keep it aside. So the next thing to do is to cut the cufflink extension. What I'm holding here is a collar gum, that is collar stay. The strong one, not gum stay, is collar stay. If you want to have a good shirt, this is what you should use. So my round sleeve, the round sleeve was 8.5, but I just changed my mind now. I've decided to make use of 8 instead of 8.5. You know, -3, we -3 from the sleeve. So this collar gum here is 3 inches, no seam allowance. While the length of the collar gum, since I'm using 8 inches for the round sleeve, that is the round sleeve, 8 inches. So I added a 1.5 inch for button allowance. It's the allowance for button hole. So when you fix it, you can have a space to button it. So I just add 1.5 inch to it. That is 3/4 this way, 3/4 this way. Now the fabric will supply me the allowance on this cufflink extension. You don't need allowance. The next thing you can do, if you want a design on it, you can choose to curve this down. This part facing me right now is the part that will join with the sleeve. So this is the down part. You can choose to slant it like this, give it a curve. If that is what you want, you can give it a curve, or you can give another shape this way, like this. You just decide on what you want. But for this one, I'm not curving anything. I want to use this thread as it is. And I also cut out the strap. This one here is 3 inches width. Then the length, just add extra to it. The slit here is 4 inches, but we will need more than 4 inches. So what I have here is 15 inches. 15 inches will serve me for the 2 sleeves. I also cut out this one. This one is 1.5 inch width. The length too is up to 15 inches. How to prepare the cufflink extension? I'll pick my collar gum like this, and I will place it on top of my fabric and iron it. I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of it. Then the strap that I cut, I will tear it into 2 like this. One for one sleeve, one for the other sleeve. The small strap, I'm going to cut it into 2 also. So I cut out a collar gum to use for the cufflink plackets by the side, the slit that we open. So the length of this placket here is 6.5 inches. Are you seeing? While the width is 3/4 of an inch. Don't allow it to get to 1 inch. After cutting it, the edge like this, I just give it a V shape like this. See the shape? Are you seeing the shape? So how to work the cufflink extension? I'll keep the one that will serve as lining aside. Then see the front. I got my collar gum on it, and I create a 1/2 inch seam allowance around my stele. The same thing applied to this one. Now I've already worked on this part, so let me use this one to show you. You cut your hemming gum the length of this, and you can divide the width into 3. Just divide the width into 3 like this, so that it will not be too wide. Then you use one part of it. Pick one like this to fold this 1/2 inch. This part now I'm using hemming gum on it, will serve as the front. So you hem the 1/2 inch allowance like this, and you use your iron, you use your hemming gum to hold it, to make it stay at a place. This way you have a neat sewing. Or you can also do without the hemming gum. Make sure you fold the allowance on top of the stele and iron it. So I'm through with this part. With the lining, I'll keep it aside. Then the cufflink plackets. So I just gum this one at the center. The cufflink plackets, I gum it at the center, the 6.5 inch stele that I cut. Now I will hold both of them like this, front kissing front. I see now. You have to do it like this so that they will rhyme with each other. You can choose any part. You can cut from this part, you can cut from this part. But the most important thing that the front must kiss front. So I will trim one side allowance. I will just leave 1/2 inch seam allowance. And this part, leave it as it is. After gumming your gum at the center, then I will come to this down part now. So at that V shape is where I'm going to cut this slit now. I'm going to tear it open straight, close to it. So see what I have now. Are you seeing now? Now when you cut it open like this, you have to know that this is the small side and this is the big side. Let's put it like that. So at this small side now, I'm going to fold it this way in. This is just to get the shape of the collar gum. Then I will iron it like this. If you think the allowance is too much, after bending it this way, you can trim some of the allowance off. You can also use small hemming gum to hold it, to make it stay at a place. Now this is the big side. I will also fold this big side in, just to get that V shape on the collar gum. Trim some of the allowance off and use the hemming gum to hold it. Now you leave this small side, the length like this, and come to this big part now. Fold it this way. And use your hemming gum to catch it. Put it under. And iron it on top to make it stay at a place. Okay. So if you look at it now, I've gotten the shape. Once you fold this part in, the V shape is showing. Are you seeing now? So this part now, you leave it for sewing. You don't fold it now. I'll keep this one aside and apply the same thing to this one. The small one, the cufflink placket, I've already hemmed this part. Just hem one side alone. You can use your hemming gum also. So I'm going to hem the second one. Just 1/4 of an inch. Use your iron to hold it. And your hemming gum also. So see what I have now. I will now take all of this and go to machine to work on it. So before I sew it, I'll hold the line like this and just give a notch like a V shape at that 4 inches that I cut. And just give a notch, I say now, so that when I sew it, it will balance, it will not rumple. So this is the small side. I'll pick the strap for the small side like this. I'll place it like so. So I'm going to turn it this way now. So I'm sewing it from the back. This is the back of my sleeve. This is the front. I'll sew from the back and turn it to the front. When you finish sewing it, you can also notch it. Don't cut your thread. The way we notch the neck of dress, just notch at that edge there. Then you can now turn it to the front and top stitch. This is the reason why we use hemming gum to knit the edge. So you just turn it to the front like this and top stitch on top. Now we can flip it to the front like so. When you get to this part, you stop. Then you move to the back side again. You come to the big side. Now you bring the placket like this, the complete placket, the big one, the one with the spare. Just check the part that will rhyme with this one. I see now. Because this V shape is to be at the upper part, not the down part. So you place it like this. The 1/2 inch allowance. Just follow that line and sew it. Make sure you don't sew on top of the gum. Now we also hold it like this and give it a notch, so that when you turn it to the front, it will balance. You can now turn it to the front. I say now. Now when you turn it to the front, the small one, you can now cut the excess like this. Just make sure that the big one is longer than the small one. And then you bring it to your machine. Hold it like this. I see now. Bring this part now to climb on top of this and check the down. Make sure they are equal as you're setting it. You can use your pin to hold it to climb on top of the small one like this. Then from that point, this part is to be open. So from this point, you can now top stitch it. I see now. Make sure you balance it well, and you top stitch on top. You follow the shape of the V, and you sew it like this. You point your needle, you turn it again to get the V shape at the edge of the collar gun. Then you can now turn it this way go like this. When you come to this point, the starting point, you can cross your thread like this now. You back it well. Then you come back again, stitch it again, like so. Then you continue. At this point, you can push this one away and focus on this part alone. We have different way of doing it, but this is one of the easiest way. So see what we have now. The placket is set, see the back. So at this point, I can now pleat the sleeve so that you can move your hand freely. This is what this pleat does for us. So you bring your pleat, you can decide to bring it close to the cuffling placket immediately after the cuffling placket, or you can decide to shift a bit from it. Your sleeve will still be fine. If you're using a 2 pleats, then you just pleat one like this and pleat the second one. That is if you added the allowance while cutting the sleeve. You understand me? So mine is 1 inch allowance, and that 1 inch allowance was on fold. So now I'm going to make use of 1 inch here and leave the other 1 inch. That will help me size this cuffling extension for button. So 1 inch, I will fold ½ inch in, ½ inch on top. You know the way we pleat now, just ½ inch in, ½ inch on top. Yes, like this. Then I will top stitch it. So when you're cutting your sleeve, you have to put all of this into consideration. If you're using my own pattern, the way I cut this one, you should know that the pleat is ½ inch, like this. Okay, I'll keep it aside and work with the cuffling extension, the cuff. This is the one that has gum, so I will pick this one like this and place on top, turn it back. Now we'll just follow my seam allowance. I'll start from the upper part like this. I'll turn it this way. I'll turn it this way again. Now if you look closely, you see that the upper part, the one that will serve as lining, the seam allowance is here. So I can now notch the edge like this, and notch this edge like so, and turn it to the front, push it out. Now I can now close my sleeve. You know, the rigged round sleeve was 8 inches, but because of this extension now, this is 9.5 inches. So I'll be using 9.5 inches. So I'm going to check like this. This is 9 inches. So I will sew it like this. When I get to this point, I will pause. Turn it to the front and use my tape to measure it to be sure I have the 9.5. This is more than 9.5. I can pinch a little from it. So when you check that the allowance is okay now, so you pick it like this. This is the front and this is the front of the extension. Now I'm going to sew from this back, the lining, the one that serves as lining. You can now turn it to the lining back like this. That is turning to the back. I see now. And catch it like so. When you get to the round sleeve allowance, you open it. At this point you can even iron the round sleeve allowance. Then as you're sewing, you keep checking this one to make sure it's equal with the extension. So at this point, when you turn it to the front, you push the allowance inside like this. Are you seeing now? Push it inside and cover this, and cover it like so. Then you top stitch on top. I hope you're seeing. Now you push this edge inside also. You can use your scissors like this. Then at this point you can now top stitch on top the extension so that both up and down will look the same. So you top stitch like this. You go like this. See how beautiful the sleeve is. So I'll apply the same thing to this side also. So how to fix the sleeve? Pick your top like this, as if you're wearing it. Place it like so, for beginners, so that you will not be confused. Now look at my sleeve. This is the big side, you remember. So it's going to face this way. I see now. I see the way it is. This. When you put it on like this, you now see that the front armhole shape. This is the front. So this is the way it should be. If not, you make mistake and if you make a mistake and fix this one at your the armhole shape at the sleeve is going to be at the back, not in front. So you have to check all of this and calculate it well. So when you pick the first sleeve and it's rhyme, automatically the second sleeve is going to rhyme because it's only two sleeves that we have. So I'm going to pick it like this now. So I will just place the front like this. I'll pick it like so at the sleeve. This is the sleeve front armhole shape. So it's facing the front. I'll place it at the shoulder. I'm going to sew from the shoulder now. There's another method that you can close your shirt before fixing the sleeve. It will still be fine, but I want to use this method. Then I will turn it back to this side. At this point I will turn it like this. The sleeve will be down while the shirt is up. So when you finish, you can now follow the shape of the sleeve now and connect it to the shirt. Now I will come to my sleeve now. I'm going to mark my buttonhole here. This is the big side. The cufflink extension. If you want to use cufflink, just one buttonhole, and you mark the buttonhole this side and this side, so that you can insert the cufflink inside. But for this one, I'll be using a button, not cufflink. So because I want to use button, I would like to use 2 buttons on this extension. So I'm going to mark the first button here like this, and the second one this ending part. I see what I have here. So I want to use 2 buttons here, like this. So I will come to this other side also and mark 2 buttonhole. I'm going to take it to a buttonhole machine and have my buttonhole fixed now. Now you will decide the kind of button to use before you do the buttonhole. So the people that will do it for you, if you don't have the machine, which I don't have, they will ask you what size of button are you using. You show them, so you carry your button along and you show them the size of button you're using, so they will look at the button and give you the buttonhole that will fit your button. So I've finished fixing my button. See how the sleeve is. Thank you so very much for watching. See you in my next video.